Welcome, everyone. Episode 81 of Christian Geeks Rockcast with Steve Chalk and Britt Mooney.
What's up, everybody?
Yes, we are back after a fun summer full of happiness and joy and no sickness or weird stuff at all. It was all just perfectly normal.
Yeah, no, we did. No sicknesses, no coughing, no taking my kids to the doctor the first week of school because they both got sick.
No, that sounds.
And then making my wife stay home. So we were praying on Thursday morning, and she was like, she hadn't been feeling well for a couple of days. And although this might be different now that Jill is an administrator, but for a teacher, it is it's almost more work to take a day off, right? It's It's like the last thing a halfway decent teacher will want to do because they're like, it's just going to cause more work. Like this isn't going to help me actually, but
yeah, absolutely.
But so we were praying together on Thursday morning and she wasn't feeling good. And she said, what do you think? I said, you need to stay home tomorrow. And she goes, oh, yeah. We started talking about all the stuff we were going to be doing on Saturday. I said, if you don't stay home tomorrow, you shouldn't go anywhere on Saturday. And I kind of looked at her. She goes like, cause she started kind of pushing back and I kind of gave her a look and she was like, you're right. I asked you. And so she did. So I didn't make her. So she did stay home, on Friday because, and it helped. I mean, it just, anyway, so yes. So we had the sickness the first couple weeks of school, like, you know.
Well, like I didn't feel good like the first week of July. I kind of, and I felt like pretty bad. Sorry. You're going to hear a lot of that tonight, I'm afraid. I'm going to try to mute myself when I have to cough.
You can just turn your head and cough. You can just turn your head and cough.
Hey. That's
what? What's
doctor?
That was my favorite part. That was when we got to the one, doctor. You got all smooth. But anyway, go ahead. You weren't feeling well.
Yeah, so I wasn't feeling well, and I don't take a lot of sick days. I mean, and I can take a sick day. I mean, I have last time I checked, I'm not even kidding about this. I have 2.5 months of sick days, like banked, just because I don't take them that often. So, and I talk to my boss about this sometimes because, sorry, there's some people who take a lot of sick days, and the thing is deep inside I get a little judgy, but it's like I shouldn't. And I realized at some point, like, this is stupid for me to be a little judgy about this because some people just get more sick and they, so I texted him and I'm like, I think I'm going to have to take a sick day tomorrow. And he was like, well, they're there to use, so use it. And I'm like, okay, fine. so I took a sick day, and that was early July. And then I started getting better. And then I worked our church camp for a youth. It was like a 2.5 day camp. And that just like destroyed me. Which I think the taking a sick day was after camp because it like it sent me down a bad path of coughing and anyway. So that turned into like a sinus and chest infection, and so then I took antibiotics. And I hope I'm not breaking any HIPAA regulations with this, but it's my own diagnosis. I feel like this is okay.
Yeah.
For everyone around the world to hear about it.
Sure.
But
especially in Australia.
Was that?
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
So I took the antibiotics like a good boy, and I took the whole round of it, and everything was not changed at all, really. I was still coughing, and so then last week I had to go get x-rays, and then they said, yeah, everything's good. You're just going to keep coughing until it goes away.
And in that you moved Ethan back into school, and so I mean, so it's just been we did the right thing in recording an extra episode and just saying, look, we're just going to do one for July. We'll just go ahead and record a couple here in June and do one for July. Get back on the horse here in August. I still can't hear you.
Okay. Sorry. I muted myself to cough and then I just stay muted because I forget I'm muted. So I can't do that. All right. Anyway, so I talked to Britt about this before we came back on to record. It was like, I always thought about like, we don't do seasons with our podcast. We just keep it rolling. We try to keep it going. I think I understand the whole season theory though, because like summer is just almost impossible to do recording. So like actually, we take a little bit of a lull during summer and we record that extra episode, but then once you get into fall, you get into schedules, it sort of like works itself out.
Well, and the good thing about seasons, to everything, turn. The good thing about seasons is some podcasts, they record a whole bunch over a weekend or something. They block out a couple days or nights or something, and they just do a whole bunch. And we've kind of done that a little bit. We did that a little bit. I think when we were at NRB, we recorded a couple, 2 or 3. Yeah. And then, and it does, then all you got to do is edit and post it, and you don't have to worry about coordinating the schedules and doing the whole thing. You just kind of do one big block. So that's another good thing about a season. But you're right. The other good thing is you take a break, and you can take good breaks between them.
I was afraid with seasons that you would take a break and then you would kind of get out of the habit of not doing something, and it would be so much more work to sort of get back in the groove. That
is the negative to seasons. I agree.
Yeah.
Because we kind of did seasons with my writing podcast, Brew and Ink. And it kind of fizzled out. It fizzled out for different reasons, but it was difficult to get everyone back. So there were some seasons where we would have a good number of people, and then a couple seasons it's just me and Steven, my friend. Good deal. But we got this podcast, and we got to get into it because we have like 15 news things because we haven't done one in forever. And so we are doing an album with one of our favorite vocalists of all time.
Not so much. But,
Not so much. And now I have acquired the taste of Roger's voice just because I dig the style and I dig the vibe of the band. So we're doing Vengeance Rising. And at first I was thinking that maybe we do the first album because sometimes we do the first album. But then, and Steve, to his credit, reluctantly agreed. And I gave him a couple outs. I was like, come on, we don't have to if you don't want to. And he's like, no, it's a classic album. We should do it. Or it's a classic band. And so we, but then I said, well, are we really going to do 2 Vengeance Rising episodes? It'll be a while before we get to a second. Let's just put it that way. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. And so I was like, we might as well do my favorite, which is Once Dead. I like Human Sacrifice. Once Dead is, in my opinion, we'll get into it, is a little bit better. So, and, this is a story. Vengeance Rising is a story full of drama and mystery. I would say mystery.
Yeah, 100%.
That a lot of people still are asking questions about. And unfortunately, Roger has passed since I don't know, it's been a few years now. So we'll never really get answers, and hopefully he made his peace with the right source in the end. I don't know. You can always hope. So anyway, so this is Vengeance Rising, and I loved the music. I thought, of course, I was really into Metallica, and I was really into all those bands. Not all of them, but a lot of them, and a little bit Megadeth, a little bit here and there. But I was just, my problem with a lot of the secular metal bands was, and this is a lot of us in the 80s, is I like the music for Slayer, but there was no way I was buying a Slayer album. I mean, as a young Christian kid, I was like, I'm not buying that, you know. And there was a whole, the darkness in that music was super dark sometimes, you know. So for me, the fact that they were started to come out with Christian albums and bands that had that style of music, I was in, and I got used to the Cookie Monster voice enough, and I learned to enjoy it enough because the songs, in my opinion, are sincerely strong songs. There's some really good songwriting for the style that it is, so that makes up for it to me.
I will say that the choice to go with Once Dead was a good one because I wasn't the biggest Vengeance Rising fan. I listened to their stuff occasionally. I never really bought their stuff, and mostly it was because I just never cared for Roger's voice. Like it just didn't appeal to me in any way. So, but in listening through Human Sacrifice, because we originally were going to do Human Sacrifice, then like Britt said, we talked it through and decided to go with Once Dead. Listening to Human Sacrifice and then starting up and listening to Once Dead, it's so much stronger.
I agree.
Musically, it's like sonically way better.
Yeah, production wise, the musicianship is better. I mean, they weren't bad on the first. None of it was bad in my opinion, but they really found their stride. I think.
The first one sounded more like indie. It sounded like it was more of an indie album, whereas the second one sounded like and it's true. I mean, like they put out this album, they got a level of notoriety and popularity, and then they were able to probably put a lot more budget and a lot more effort into the second album, and it shows. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and they played for a few years together. And, you know, they were playing gigs, and that tightens you up as a band, and you can. And to me, they had a great energy, and we can get into it later. But they just had a great energy to them, and they kicked butt, and they had great riffs, and they had great dynamics, which that's part of what this music is. And they really set the stage. I mean, they were the first, and then Deliverance was kind of right there. And you know, a couple other ones. Detritus, I'm going to want to do that album at some point. That first Detritus album, I really enjoyed that album because it was a little bit more on the Metallica side, where they would actually kind of sing. It wasn't as much the growling. So anyway, but that's what we're doing this time. But first, what are we going to do?
The news?
Yeah, the news.
Okay, in the news. So,
I
wanted to say, like, after our interview with Paul Rohraback, he had mentioned something about we talked about the guitar, and I talked about how I was just sitting over there and I really wanted to learn. He was like, "Take it out of the case. Take it out of the case." Well, I've taken it out of the case.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, that's a chord. That's a legit chord.
Yeah, it's not really coming through though from the microphone. I can't really hear it on the microphone.
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry, but it looked like a chord. I mean, I can play the guitar. It looked like you were playing a chord. It looked legit.
What's funny is that reminds me of when we had Rex Carroll on.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
So for those of you listening just to audio, I had the guitar. I was actually playing the guitar, but nothing was heard on the mic. So we were interviewing one of my favorite guitarists of all time, Rex Carroll, on our Rex Carroll episode. He had the whole setup going, and he was just ripping on it, and you could see it, couldn't hear a thing.
No, and he was just doing it through the microphone and the cam on his laptop. He didn't even have like a legit microphone trying to do it. I'm really surprised that Yeti isn't picking it up. I wonder why.
I know that's why I thought surely it'll
I would anyway. Good job.
Fine.
Is that number one? How many news things we got? 15, 18?
Somewhere in there.
Okay.
So,
all right. That's number one.
Number one.
Okay.
All right, so Next, you may have seen we posted this on the socials, but we have a new merch item.
I love this merch item.
It's the Volschlit 2028 campaign shirt. So, it's like when you can't decide which Petra vocalist you really want, why not have them both?
Why not? And just so everybody knows, if you're on the YouTubes, I finally got the mug, the metal mug, the Christian metal mug that Steve put together. This is easily in the top 2 or 3 mugs I have. I've got a lot of favorite mugs, but it's a great mug.
Top 2 or 3. Come on.
I mean,
really?
I'm sorry. I got some favorites. I've got a couple from Bob Beeman's website, and those are some cool mugs.
Well, why don't you just go join a Bob Beeman podcast then?
I would, if he would let me. That would be awesome. No, so I also ordered a hat, and I'm not saying threadless is not cool or anything, but the hat's taken a while. I think like printing a shirt or doing the stuff on the mug, I think that's a quick turnaround. I think the hat takes a little longer. It's just so everybody knows, yeah. I'm getting a hat, so you can get one too, but it might take a little while. So
we'll post a picture of the hat because I haven't ordered a hat.
Yeah, but yes, so I love that shirt idea. I think it's great.
So order you a Volschlit shirt. It'll be cool. You'll be the talk of the neighborhood.
I know. Just make sure you really pronounce Schlit, and yes. You kind of roll don't skip that L.
Yeah, that L is very important. All right,
that's a very Schlitty shirt.
Wow, we're going to put a PG-13 rating on this podcast. Okay. The next item is Les Carlson has a new song out called Free Will. He's working on an album called Free Will.
Okay, good. Yes. Good. Got it.
Yeah. So, but the song sounds pretty good.
The song is cool. It's obviously, I'm going to say it sounds to me like it's Paul Jackson, some of the guitar work.
Oh, 100%.
It definitely sounds like him. But it's a little heavier. It's a little crunchy. And his voice still rocks, man. I mean, the guy's 92 or something. I don't know how old he is now, but he's
not that old.
His voice still rocks. And
it's crazy how good he still is. It really is. But so he's working on, and he posted a video the other day from a boat. He's been posting a lot of live videos, which is kind of fun to see a man in his 70s, doing live videos on social media. But he's actually going to be interviewed, if not already. He's going to be interviewed for a Chris Jericho documentary on Christian rock.
That's nice.
Yeah,
that would be fun. I bet Chris Jericho does a good job. He's a legit fan. You can really tell he's a legit fan.
He's a legit fan who grew up on this stuff. It shaped a lot of who he is. And he has a passion for it. It's kind of like us where, later in life, we look back on it and realize how important that music was to us back in the day.
Absolutely.
So, and we were never professional wrestlers, but.
Well, I mean, you don't know all my past. You don't.
Do tell. So Chris Jericho documentary, that's a news item. The next one is Alan Aguirre from Scattered Few has a new album coming out, and he's going to have a listening party coming up very soon, so I'm going to post about that on socials. But it's called Auditory, and he actually was kind enough to send it to me early, so I've been...
Nice.
Yeah, I've been listening to it a little bit, and I've been having to sort of reacquaint myself with Vengeance Rising over the last week, so I haven't been able to dive in super deep. But typical Ellen Aguirre scattered few type stuff. It's not as heavy, like heavy punk as scattered few. It's probably a little more eclectic with some like post punk, a little bit of punk mixed in, and kind of a little bit of a Love and Rockets vibe to it. So
Nice. Okay.
if you dig his stuff, you'll probably enjoy this as well. But it's called Auditory, so look for it very soon. Worldview coming back, recording with Ray Parra and Dino Elefante on production.
Dino was such a great piano player. I bet he really produces it well.
You're thinking Dino Kartsanakis.
Oh, sorry.
Different. Very different.
That is a Christian music 80s joke if there ever was one. That's a Christian music dad joke from the 80s. Like, that's how bad 100%. That is. That's how bad that is. And
well, obscure. For those of us who were kids back in the 80s and whose parents had Dino albums.
Yes, they did.
That's where I fall.
On vinyl. They had them on vinyl. Mm-hmm. And B.J. Thomas. Did your mom like the B.J. Thomas?
She was not as big into country, which may be one of the reasons why I don't care for much country, but we didn't listen to a lot of country.
Well, this is B.J. Thomas when he did his Christian stuff, which is
I mean, we might have had like an 8-track or something around the house, but I don't know.
Anyway.
Honestly, I don't remember it. I can tell you who we had. We had Evie Carlson. We had Dallas Home and Praise.
I know Dallas. I didn't know the first one. I don't know the first one.
Evie?
I don't think
you don't know Evie?
I don't think not personally. No, I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think I know who that person.
Okay. I'll fill you. Come on, ring those bells. Never heard that song before.
I might have heard a song and not known who it was. I don't know.
Oh, you know who it was. You know her.
Oh, you'd know.
She was everywhere. I'm trying to think of who else. I've lost my train of thought, but those were Dallas Home and Evie were the ones I remember very well
from. But anyway, so that was quite the tangent. But basically, Dino Elefante is producing the album by Worldview, and I saw a little post where Ray Parra was taking a selfie. Have you seen this post? The picture made me laugh because basically Giorgio Ochoa, however you say his name, and Dino Elefante were sitting there looking grumpy, like grumpy old men in an amazing studio. And Ray Parra is just like happy as a clam. He's taking the selfie, just he's like so happy, and the two other guys are like, anyway.
Oh yeah, I see it now. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. So yes, I'm excited about that album coming out.
Yeah, Worldview is really good. If you haven't heard their other stuff, I mean, it's just like very classic 80s sort of, hair metal. I don't know if it's the right word. It's just kind of power metal.
Yeah, it's a little more power metal. It's a little modernish, but I would put it more in the power metal. I think that's but it's just good. It's just cool. It's cool metal, great vocals, decent songwriting. It's good.
All right. So, sorry, clearing my throat, getting ready to talk. Roger Rose, I saw this literally today. Roger Rose from Mad at the World is starting a podcast.
Oh, is he inviting us on?
What?
Did he invite us on?
No, I don't know if it's an invite you on kind of podcast. It seems very introspective where he's breaking down Mad at the World songs.
I see.
Yeah. No, but he could. But this is Roger, not Randy. We had Randy on.
I know.
Roger owes us nothing. Well, Randy owes us something.
Yeah. I don't even think Randy owes us anything either.
Nobody owes us anything.
Nobody really owes us. And if you get through this episode, we might owe you by the end of it. But no, I'm just, messing. But, if Roger, if he wants to know how people should kind of dissect Christian music and songs, he should listen to our podcast. I mean, that's obviously we are professionals. We're the standard.
Yes, we're the standard bearer, according to us. But the other thing too, like the other day, I posted this, and I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it yet, but he posted a.
Oh no, I still haven't.
Shameful.
It is shameful.
He posted a remix of one of the songs. Let's see. It's off of Through the Forest. Which song? Which song was it? Bear with me. Bear with me. I'll never go back there. But it's like an original like demo of it. But it sounds very different. He's singing. Randy's not singing. It's a legit, like really, really good version of the song. I think it is. Like I could listen to a whole album of that.
Awesome.
But
all right.
That wasn't even a news item. I just threw that in.
We're just throwing more in. Now we're getting up to like 20. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Steve Scott, I posted about this a day or two ago. Apparently there's a whole like solid rock, like Larry Norman's son is kind of solid rock records trying to get stuff going. So apparently there's some old Steve Scott music that's going to be released and some other recordings from like Mark Hurd and Larry Norman and Randy Stonehill and Tom Howard and some other stuff from way back in the day, probably like early 80s, late 70s, early 80s stuff that might see the light of day, which would be kind of cool. Because, even though we sort of focus more on that 80s to early 90s, it's like understanding that a lot of what we celebrate on this podcast is sort of born and birthed out of a lot of that late 70s, even mid 70s stuff. So it's very cool. And then Third Day is reuniting. We don't talk a lot about the Third Day, but it's like, it's kind of cool that they're getting back together.
Yeah. If you're in Atlanta, Third Day is always news.
Yes. And, me and Mac Powell, we're best buds. Not really. But we have talked. We have met and talked. So there is that. And then lastly, at least on my list, we got some sad news, which we've talked about. But our friend Jerry Davison of Jacob's Trouble passed away a week or two ago. And we were blessed and honored to have him on the show a couple of years ago, just talking about his music and his mission work and all that stuff. So, I mean, and you posted about that on the page, but just kind of like it's just really cool to be able to talk and quote unquote meet one of the people that we've looked up to for so many years.
Yeah. If you go back and listen to, I think we did the first Door into Summer. We did Door into Summer, right?
Yeah.
And then we talked to him. And so if you listen to either of those episodes, you would hear me talk about how I think I've seen Jacob's Trouble more than any other band. I've seen them so many times. They played so many times in the Atlanta area because they're from Georgia-ish, Atlanta-ish, Georgia. And, and they say, and I love their music. I love their albums. They just did some great stuff. Yes. No, it wasn't metal, but, I loved, the oldies and the Beatles and the Monkees and all that stuff that were, I was into all that stuff. From the 60s and 70s. So anyway, that really influenced them. Excuse me. But they say don't meet your heroes because you'll be disappointed, that sort of thing. That was not the case. And that has not been the case with a lot of the people we've had on the podcast. Mike Stan was phenomenal. I was a huge Mike Stan fan, and getting to talk to Ray Para and the guys from Barron Cross and Jerry Davison was right in there. Just getting to meet somebody that at the time I just thought they were cool. I just thought they were just a great band, and just
absolutely,
he totally lived up to whatever expectation I would have had about him being a cool, down to earth, godly man. He was. And so, yeah, it's very sad. And I almost went to the memorial, but I had some other things going on that day, and I couldn't do it. And plus my Knock, Breathe, Shine shirt, my wife said, if only your Knock, Breathe, Shine shirt wasn't in tatters, because I wore it so much. Like, she used to make fun of me, like, you need to stop wearing that shirt. It's got holes in it. I'm like, this is the best shirt ever. And yeah. And the reason I'm saying that is because if you didn't see, his wife Cheryl posted about the memorial saying, please come as comfortable, wear whatever you want, but especially if you want to honor him, do Marvel, a Jacob's Trouble shirt. She said something else. There was
Atlanta Braves.
Atlanta Braves. And I was like, well, I do have a Jacob's Trouble shirt. It just would probably fall off of me. I used to wear that thing out. Anyway, yes. Very sad.
Yeah, and then Chuck Girard also passed away in the last few weeks. Who talk about pioneers from back in the day. You know, he's started out with Love Song, which was arguably one of the first sort of Christian rock bands. Not really rock in the way that we think of rock necessarily, but rock more in like the old Beatles style or the
it was rock for the day. It was rock.
Yeah. So that's a couple of sad passings, and unfortunately, that's part of life is death. So we have to deal with some of that from time to time.
Yep.
But that's all I've got for news, believe it or not.
That's a good list. And we got through it okay. We got through it in a decent amount of time. I've got a couple items. Well, one major one that it's not really Christian news. However, I'll tell you what, I'll twist it and make it Christian news. How about that? So Ozzy Osbourne also passed away, and I know he was definitely not a Christian artist.
Interesting.
But
I wouldn't have guessed.
But he was incredibly influential for me as a musician, a songwriter, and all that. And even though I don't know that you would ever listen to anything I wrote and thought, oh, that sounds like Ozzy Osbourne. That's still it was formative in a lot of ways. But I don't know if you saw this, but there's this guy on social media who goes around and gives Bibles and tries to evangelize celebrities. Have you seen this guy? I forget his name. And
I've seen him.
He's got this cool story about how he gave, this is in the past year or two, I don't know, maybe longer, maybe a couple years ago, how he gave Ozzy, he got to meet Ozzy and he evangelized him once. No, and he gave him a Bible with his name on it. And a couple of years went by, and his son, Jack, right? Isn't that his name? Ozzy's son, Jack?
Yeah.
He was there at the time when he gave him the Bible, and then a couple of years later, he ran into Jack again at somewhere, and he was like, I didn't think he'd recognize me, but he did. And he came up to me and he said, man, you don't know how much that Bible meant to my dad. He said he left it in the dressing room because it was at a show. He left it in the dressing room and made the security, Ozzy Osbourne made them open up the whole facility again so he could go back and get his Bible. He just kept saying, I got to get my Bible. I got to get my Bible. He said, I just want you to know, man, he has that, the Bible you gave him, he has it on his bedside table right now. I mean, it's just one of the few gifts he's kept from people. So I don't know what that means. You don't know what that means, yeah. But I know that Ozzy, for all the flack that Ozzy would get, some of it legit, some of it not. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of it that wasn't, I don't know if anyone's ever listened to the lyrics to Mr. Crowley, which is about the Satanist guy. But it's actually, like, if you really listen to the lyrics, he's like, what's wrong with you? Why would you believe this stuff? Like, so a lot of times, because Christians never overreact about anything. They, like in the 80s, they were always like, oh, he's a Satanist. And he played that image. And so some of it was his own fault. But if you really listen to a lot of his lyrics, you could tell there was some longing for something more in there, and hopefully you just never know. Hopefully he read something, found something. Oh, because part of the guy's story was when he gave the Bible to Ozzy. Ozzy said, I've tried to read the Bible, but I can't understand it. The language is, old language, like it was King James. And he goes, no, this is a modern version. And Ozzy opened it to one of the Gospels, and he goes, I can understand this, and so that's why he was excited about having it. So anyway, I don't know.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, you never, and the shout out to that dude for doing that, because I mean, I've seen him before. Like he gave one to Stephen Piercy.
Yeah,
I've seen
man.
recently.
All kind of celebrities.
Which is very cool, because you never know.
You never know, man.
We talk to kids at church about this. It's like, there's friends of yours who probably, they're just waiting for an invitation. They're just waiting for you to talk to them about God. And if you don't take that opportunity, then
you never know.
Nobody may ever talk to him about it.
You never know. So yeah, good for him. All right, I know that went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but that was kind of a cool. All right, let's do it.
So Vengeance Rising is kind of an interesting segue, because we're talking about another guy in Roger Martinez, who we don't know the condition of his soul when he passed. We can hope, because we know that he knows about Christ because he sang about him for many years. But then,
and the dude was a pastor.
Yeah,
the dude pastored his own church up until almost right before they did Once Dead. I think, like when they started getting busy with After Human Sacrifice, I think he stepped away to do the music thing. But yeah, man, if you read the lyrics, like he's quoting scripture and he's putting scripture references all over the place. Mm-hmm. And it was a huge change. It was a shocking change for many of us, because it was literally right after this album came out that he decided, that's it, I'm out. I'm going to follow Satan now. I mean, it was so strange. It was so shocking to us.
It was like, it was about as 180 as you could possibly get.
Yeah. And
the thing is, like, it wasn't, I mean, unless this was an act he took to his grave, as far as we know. I mean, because like, and I know people who are probably listening to this right now, friends of ours, people who listen to this show, I know two of them specifically, I won't name names, who had interactions with him where he was flat out evil to them.
Wow.
Just said evil, vicious, nasty things to them. And it's just like things that you wouldn't say unless you had something going on. And so it's kind of like one of those things where if this was an act, he was really playing it. But so I don't think it was an act necessarily, but I hadn't heard about people's interactions like that. I'd heard about some interactions online and about how just like you couldn't even have a conversation with him. Like some people tried to get him on like a podcast or something, an interview, and he was just impossible to talk to. Like he was so hostile, and he was so hostile. And I don't know what happened. I mean, church people can be hurtful. I'm not blaming church people. I'm just saying, like, negative things could have happened at some point. I don't know. And I do believe that there is a spiritual enemy out there too who could get involved in some of that stuff. But, you also read stuff where people are like, well, maybe the whole Christian thing was an act to begin with. Maybe he was just playing around. And, I'm not going to get all the theological implications about everything, because when it comes down to it, we don't know. I don't know what happened. And I'm not going to, but it was, from what I understand, he ended up becoming more of an atheist, but he was pretty legitimately anti-Christian throughout the rest of his life, even whether he was a Satanist or an atheist. I mean, he was, the common theme was he was anti-Christian, but what's so interesting is that, like, it was, for a lot of us metal fans, Christian metal fans, so they put the band together. Roger put the band together in like 87, and then they put out the first album in 88, and they worked their tail off. I don't know if you've seen any interviews or seen any, people talking about that time, but they really practiced playing fast and doing it well. Like, these guys really wanted to get into the clubs and get into the heavy thrash metal scene and preach the gospel. That was what they wanted to do. That was a
the thought in their head, and they happen to be pretty decent songwriters. And you saw that on a few of the songs on Human Sacrifice. But then you get to Once Dead, and it just really comes together. So Human Sacrifice comes out in 88, and it was everywhere. And 90, Once Dead, and it was even more everywhere, except there were some Christian bookstores that banned it because it was so violent. I mean, there's a whole song about being cut into pieces. But he's taking this thing from these stories from the Bible where that's what happened in the story. People got cut into pieces. But as I've said a lot of times when we're doing some of these heavy metal bands, you know, heavy metal just lends itself to some of these more disturbing, harsh, intense sort of, especially the metal of the 80s, of just in your face, all that stuff. And so, yeah, this album to me was, again, I did have to get over his voice, but once I got over his voice, I realized, man, this is a fun, cool album. And yeah, it's just sad, some of the stuff that happened afterwards, especially with Roger, but just, it's a great album.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I always like to bring this up too, for those who have either forgotten or maybe not as connected to the scene back then. But when Vengeance came out, and subsequently Deliverance, and then some of the other bands, like, they were taken legitimately seriously in the metal world. Like, they were probably as much respected in that sort of thrash metal world as any other band was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, that's why I like Headbangers Ball. Like, you would see Intense Records videos on there all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because they were legit. I mean, they were legit thrash metal artists in that world. Like I don't think anybody they didn't look at them as like, oh, that's the gospel singers. You know,
no.
We're not going to talk about them.
Yeah.
They're just Vengeance Rising. And maybe because Roger's vocals were sometimes hard to understand, you know, they kind of got away with a little bit, you know. If you're Striper, it's pretty clear you're singing, you know, about Jesus, or you're singing about Christianity, you're singing about faith. But because the imagery was dark, disturbing, but biblical, he was using these things. But so he was right into that language, you know, that whole thing about when you're getting into the community, you use their language, and he was using their language, but he was bringing in these elements from the Bible. And we'll get into some of the songs, but so for those of you who don't know, so you have Larry Farkas will play the guitar, because the musicians on this album are just phenomenal. And Larry Farkas plays the guitar. Doug Thiem is also on the guitar. Roger Dale Martin, and then Glenn plays the bass, and then Glenn Marcuso plays the drums. Farkas has been everywhere, man. He played with Deliverance. He played some shows with Holy Soldier. He was everywhere. And I really think, looking back, I didn't think it then, but I really think now, I think these guys were at heart like 70s blues rock guys. I really think that's who they were. And they got into the metal scene and got really good at it. And you can hear that on the Die Happy record as well. But I think in their heart, they were like hard rock, blues rock, all that stuff. Well, speaking of Die Happy, if you're on YouTube, you can see my Die Happy bandana.
Nice.
So I'm just going to leave this here so you don't have to look at me. I got to say, I was like, what do I have this Vengeance Rising related? It's like, I don't really have any Vengeance Rising, but I have a Die Happy bandana. But anyway, I digress. And if you look at if you look at the photo of them, I mean, it's like that's another thing about like, do they fit the mold? Do they look the part? Do they, so like it's not a bunch of cleaned up church boys who just growl, like some of the, like there's some bands nowadays where you look at, like you listen to them and then you look at them and go like, these are like frat boys.
You're right.
You
Yeah.
know, but these guys look the part. I mean, like they could show up in a club in Hollywood and you wouldn't think anything about it because I mean, and Roger Del Martin still looks the part.
He does. Yeah. And they're still around. A couple of these guys are still around doing stuff. They started some bands, doing some stuff, making music.
Oh yeah. I think most of them are. Yeah.
Yeah. They, maybe at one point we'll do the first Die Happy. I think the second I think they're both within our sort of time frame before 95. But that first Die Happy album, as you and I were talking the other night at the football game, was like, that was, if I could get just 10 more bands like this, it's like, it was like Deliverance. You had a great high singer with that sort of heavy music. It's just, sort of, that's what I loved. All right. So let's get into the artwork before we get into the songs. How about that?
Yeah. The artwork is, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, it's very typical frontline, early 90s, late 80s, where, they've got one picture of the band that they used twice. They did a cover layout, but then the cool thing about the cover is sort of the zombies, like them rising out of the graveyard.
Yeah.
So you've got like the photo of them, then there's like the rip, and then they're, rising out of the grave, which is, kind of cool.
Yeah. I at the time I loved it. Looking at it now, it looks cheesy. It really, it kind of does. But at the time, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's like they're zombies and they're it's they're once dead, like they were dead in Christ. They were dead, like now they're alive in Christ." And it's like, oh, I mean, like you just as a kid, you're like, "That's so cool,"
Well, and yeah, I mean, we also have to think or remember that these guys broke so much ground in sort of the Christian world as far as musical style and pushing the envelope with the record, because like now if you're in the Christian metal Facebook page,
oh my gosh,
like some of the, I mean, honestly, some of the disgusting album covers that quote unquote Christian bands are putting out now, it makes this look like cartoon.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like this is like, oh yeah. You could put this. You could put the ones, this Once Dead album that you could put on a Saturday morning cartoons now. It's just whatever.
Oh, big time. Yeah. But so it was cheesy, cool. And then like I said, the actual photo of them, they look tough, like they could kick my butt, which is what you want.
That's what you want from the metal guys. Yeah,
but then the back is just very basic with the songs and black and white. I've always talked about the frontline records. It's like until there was at one point where they changed where they got 4-color on the back, but they used to be black and white. This is still black and white.
Yeah.
I'm very critical.
All right. Are you ready for the first song?
Dude, I could not be more ready than I am right now.
I think you could be, but
probably.
You're probably appropriately ready.
But I will say this, as I said before, like there's some jams on it. I was listening to my car and I'm like, there's actual songs I listened all the way through and just like I was just like rocking the whole time. I was like going, I didn't even notice Roger on that song. It was great.
Right. This is called Warfare. I like the heartbeat. I like the heartbeat thing kind of here at the beginning. So because this is thrash metal, there's some longer intros.
Oh yeah.
We're going to have to get through. It's a great first song. It's a great song. And I'm going to go back to, I know if you listen to us, if people listen to us, which I know we have several that do listen to every episode, and you guys are so awesome. But, you know, I don't think it actually happened for whatever reason, but I think Luke Easter was going to sing some Vengeance Rising stuff. And I'm telling you, these are good songs. And if you want to know that they're good songwriters and that a real singer would show you what good songs they are, just listen to Die Happy. Just listen to the Die Happy album when Robin, what's his name, Basuri or whatever his name is, he lent his amazing voice to basically Vengeance Rising music. And yeah, so I dig this tune a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. It's not my favorite song. There's a couple that I like a good bit better, but it is a good first song, and it starts out, and I think the the sort of and what's he saying? Is he saying the creed, or what's he saying at the beginning?
I think it's the Lord's Prayer. Is it the Lord's Prayer?
Yeah, it might be the Lord's Prayer.
I think it's the Lord's Prayer. I don't have the lyrics in front of me.
How much of a Christian am I where I didn't recognize the Lord's Prayer? But yes, but it's like where he's singing, he's kind of saying that under his breath. But kind of creepily. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole thing is it's a jam.
Yeah, man, it was so good. All right, next song. Oh, by the way, if you couldn't tell, the song "Warfare" is about spiritual warfare, and like. The verses, you can't really hear the lyrics. You can't really understand a lot of it. But he's saying some really cool stuff about spiritual warfare, and this is what we're in. And even when you don't know, you're in this warfare. So, again, so cool. All right, this is Can't Get Out. I dig this song, too. That's basically the song. They yell "Can't Get Out" later, but this song is about addiction, and it's got some pretty intense, in your face lyrics about addiction and taking drugs and being stuck in that, and then obviously in the end, there's a better way, man. There's a better way that can help you overcome addiction. Obviously, Jesus.
Well, I like how it's like he compares almost like a metaphor of like I smoked my car and I smoked my house.
Yeah.
Basically, like I lost all this stuff to the drugs, and then later on he says I smoked away my frustrations and I took them out on my wife. It's just,
it's intense.
yeah. I mean, it's like real stuff. I mean, yeah, there's real stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the song. But again, hopefully you can hear the energy. And I did want to say this at one point. I was listening to this album today again when I was doing my notes for it. And I was like, man, I think I patterned my bass sound after this guy. Like my bass sound and this guy's bass sound, very similar. And especially in those days. But even now, I mean, that, like, if you're gonna let me pick what bass sound I want for a rock album, it's gonna be this, or something very close to it. All right, this is one of my favorites, just because I love just how he put a song together about things being cut into pieces from the Bible. I just thought it was amazing. All right, Cut into Pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I like the staccato stuff that they do. They actually have a decent ear for the rhythms and the melodies and the dynamics. That's what makes the music so amazing. And yeah, I love that song.
Yeah, it's very speed metal.
Very speed metal.
But like, and this is one of the things. I'm not going to continue harping on Roger's voice, but like when he's singing, like he says, comes from God's hand. Like he pronounces God Goads. I'm like, okay, that affectation on your voice. You're like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't love his voice. We've said that before, but it's like, and not that I'm, mind some mispronunciations every now and then, but it's like, it's Cookie Monster.
It is Cookie Monster. All right. So just so people know, like the first verse, again, these are kind of obscure stories because in most Christian churches, they're not talking about these stories on Sunday morning. So they're a little more obscure, but there's one story about how, they take the Ark of the Covenant, the Philistines capture the Ark of the Covenant. I think it was under Saul, right? It was Samuel before Saul. And Eli, actually. I have to correct myself. It was under Eli, and then Samuel becomes, and Eli dies. But anyway, so the Philistines get it, and so they, in order to kind of mock the Israelites that they just beat them in battle, they put the ark into their temple to their idol Dagon. And then when they come back in the next day, and Dagon, the idol, has fallen on his face. And so as you do, you just pick him back up and put him back up. And they come in the next day, and his head and his hands have been removed and thrown on the floor. And that's the first verse. The second verse is a very disturbing story about a Levite whose wife was brutally raped, his concubine, and because it was such an awful thing that happened in Israel, in I forget what the name of the town was, but it was in the tribe of Benjamin. He cuts her up into pieces and mails 12 pieces of his wife, his concubine, to the 12 tribes of Israel to call them together, to get them to be unified, to bring justice against the people who did this. It's a disturbing story, but
yeah,
if you're a heavy metal guy like I was, you're like, yeah, this is what you write songs about. No one else is writing songs about this stuff. Oh, and also, by the way, I was going to say this. Back in the 80s especially, and it's probably still true, a little bit through the 90s, but it's probably still kind of true. There was a real overlap between horror movies and heavy metal.
Mm-hmm.
There was a huge, Dream Warriors by Dokken, and you had just had a lot of that sort of overlap. So that's getting into a lot of what Vengeance Rising was kind of tapping into, using those Bible sort of disturbing stories to tap into that connection that heavy metal in general had with sort of the horror movie genre,
Something for everybody in that book.
All right, next one. Another one I like. Frontal Lobotomy. It's almost a tourniquet song.
Mm-hmm. I dig this one.
Yeah. That's it. That's the song. I mean, it's got some cool jam parts there in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
But, the message is about deception and the lies of the enemy. And, a frontal lobotomy basically removes a part of your brain sort of thing. So he's, using that as a metaphor or whatever.
Yeah. This kind of slow bluesy jam kind of is... That's when I like Vengeance the most. I don't mind the speed metal stuff, but and this to me reminds me a little bit more of Die Happy.
Yeah.
Sort of. That's kind of where I can hear some of that influence, but there's a couple of songs like this on this record that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. The next song is called Herod's Violent Death. And I don't know if you know, but it's about the guy in the Bible called Herod.
Is it about his death?
And it's about his violent death.
Okay. Not his non-violent death.
That's an important adjective, especially for Vengeance Rising. Yeah. This one to me has some songwriting similarities to Frontal Lobotomy. But it's not quite as groove oriented as Frontal Lobotomy was, which I agree. I love that stuff too. But it's not a great song. It's got a cool little hook with Herod's Violent Death. It's where you kind of stop. But yeah, I'll listen to it all the way through. I dig it.
I think that, and you're really good at noticing patterns in songwriting, more so than I am. But one pattern that I'm noticing with them, it's not in every song, but it's in quite a few, where the chorus is just the song title.
Right.
It's a song title either said once or twice, or just maybe even once. And you just move on with the song.
Well, and there's in the hook or the chorus type thing in Frontal Lobotomy, and cut into pieces is kind of this way, and now Herod's violent death. It's like the words go right along with the chords, like Herod's violent, da, 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 you know, like, and it's like frontal lobotomy, like cut into pieces. Like he's just, but it works because he's breaking it up. He's breaking up what was happening before. And if people are yelling along with him or something, you know, it's clear enough that you can hear what's going on. It works, but yeah, there's definitely some patterns in it.
It works.
Another one of my, it's I'm kind of mad about this song. I dig the lyrics actually, but it's called Whipping Post. Yeah. It doesn't really have any hooks for me. It doesn't really go anywhere. I actually really like the lyrics though. I like what he's saying, which is basically Jesus might have looked weak when people were whipping him and killing him and he wasn't fighting back, but he was really accomplishing something much greater on our behalf. That's a very religious way to say what he's saying, but that's basically the gist of the song.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I agree. It's like it's kind of this, like you said, the song's kind of meh, but the lyrics are very introspective, very deep. But yeah, it's good.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the next one. Number 7. This is Arise.
Arise, my love. Oh, different.
It's their cover of that song. All right, this has got a long intro. So talk amongst yourselves.
I'll give you a topic.
Yeah, so essentially the song is about, what are you doing? Are you just going to church and doing nothing? Like, if you're a Christian, what are you doing with your life? You have a purpose, you have meaning, you have something that God wants you to do, and you need to be discipled, you need to grow, and all that sort of stuff. And it's just pretty basic, but he's saying saints arise. The saints of God need to rise up and be who they were called to be, sort of thing. Not quite as violent or disturbing as some of the other songs, but it's kind of cool.
I missed that version of Vengeance Rising. No, I like this song, and I think you may be sensing a pattern here. That sort of slow, more plodding, just sort of crunchy.
Yeah,
like
it is.
That was cool. That was the kind of metal that I really like. And I think that's one of the reasons why I like Crawl to China a little bit from Tourniquet, because it's a little more of this. It was a sort of a change. I mean, I like other Tourniquet stuff too, but Crawl to China was kind of the odd man out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I really liked that album.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I like this song.
Yeah. All right. Now let's get into a cover. Arguably, in other words, I'm sure I'm one of the few people, but I would say this is one of the greatest Christian cover songs. Because I don't know who had this idea, but I loved it. All right, Space Truckin'. All right, so I would really like to know who chose to do this song. I would really like to know, and there was no way for me to know. I guess if we ever interviewed, or they probably said it somewhere, maybe online, but I would really like to know whose choice it was to cover this song, because I think it's brilliant.
I think it works. It works. Surprisingly, it works.
So, exactly. It's surprising. That's the cool thing about it, is like, it's surprising, but it works. And it's not necessarily a Christian song. It's a great old 70s tune by Deep Purple. And I think you can see from how, isn't it Deep Purple?
Yeah. Deep Purple.
And I think you can see from how they covered this song that the musicians in this band really dig 70s rock. And I mean, they're putting their own metal flavor on it, but you can almost see you see what's coming with Die Happy 2, like where it's a little bluesy metal sort of stuff. But man, I dig it. I actually think his voice doesn't sound that bad on this one. It's fun. It's not good in the sense of it's not bad. He's not like out of tune or anything, but although I don't know how you tell, but no, I'm just, that's a joke, but But I actually like the way his voice sounds on it. I think it's fun. It's a fun song cover, and yeah, I dig it.
No, yeah, it's a good cover of this song because I like, and I don't really have I don't really have a hard and fast rule when it comes to cover songs because generally I'll say make it your own, but then I also love like Mortal's version of Nowhere Man.
Oh, I know.
But it sounds like it's spot
so
on.
good. Yeah, yeah.
But this is a moment where Vengeance Rising took that song and made it their own.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they had any other choice.
No, they didn't. All right. Moving on to Out of the Will. I tell you, man, the drummer's earning his keep. He probably got paid $0.25 to do this album, but he earned it. Whatever they paid him, whatever he got out of this, he earned every cent on this album. He is just, his fills, his little stops and starts, he's kicking butt. He's saying God can't find me out, or God can't find me now, because he's, running away from God, out of the will of God sort of thing. And then it's about Jonah. It's Jonah and the whale. So he's going through Jonah and the whale, about Jonah running away from God, not doing what God wants him to do. And then, then finally he's crying out to God to please, now I want you to find me. Now I want you. So at the end, it's instead of the chorus hook isn't God can't find me now, it's God please find me now at the end. So it's got sort of that turn. So it's a cool little song.
As most good Christian songs do, they have that turn.
Especially in the 80s.
Oh yeah. Well, this song to me, like when I first listened to it, I was like, this sounds like a punk song. Like it sounds more punk.
Yeah, it's a little punk.
Yeah, and it's like he sounds like he's got a British accent on that first verse. He sounds like I don't know if I'm thinking of the Clash or Sex Pistols or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I was getting that vibe.
It's a little One Bad Piggish too. It's a little One Bad Piggish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just like it, but it's got that sort of same sense of the screaming and the high pitched screaming.
I've always said that Vengeance Rising was inspired by One Bad Pig. Okay. I've always said that.
You've always.
Ever since like 20 seconds ago.
Like last week. No, okay. All right. So yeah, I think it's a cool song. The Wrath to Come is next. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So this is, to me, this is as far as a song, the structure, the actual songwriting, it's kind of a meh song. And it's kind of one of those heavy metal, Christian metal songs about the judgment and, all that. And, it's the basic message of there's a wrath to come, there's a judgment to come, and God wants you to avoid that. He's trying to help you. He's provided a way to avoid that. So yeah, it's okay.
It's funny because when I thought you were going to say it's kind of, as far as the song structure, it's kind of a mess.
Yeah. It doesn't go anywhere. And I know, like, for some of the metalheads who love this style of music, they don't care as much as I do, but I kind of like some structure. It can still go somewhere and be memorable melodically ish. But anyway, that's just me.
The songs that I am a fan of when it comes to Vengeance Risings are the ones that are somewhat melodic. The songs that are just kind of all over the place, I just don't have a lot of use for, because it's got to have some redeeming value to my musical sensibilities.
Yeah,
and
that you've always had.
I've always, since I was born, the day I was born, always had that.
Yeah. So, all right. So the next one is kind of the last one, Into the Abyss. It may surprise you, but this is about the devil going into the abyss. This might surprise you.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
This is one of the long intros, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's like an 8-minute song or something.
Like whales.
It's like a National Geographic special. David Attenborough. See, I dig this.
There it is. Into the Abyss.
I enjoyed Stryper's version better.
It's shorter, at least.
It's a lot shorter.
Yeah, and so the only thing that's left is a little whatever thing at the end, interruption or... Oh, no, there's another song.
Yeah, Among the Dead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking interruption. That interruption thing was next. This is actually a shorter song, and it's another one of the fast ones, another one of the speed ones. Among the Dead,
which is about being among the dead.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it just goes, straight speed the whole time, pretty much. I like it, and I kind of like it. It's good that it's short because this doesn't really do much more than that. What you just heard.
Well, Roger was almost singing there.
Like I know.
He was like keeping a melody there a little bit.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm impressed.
Yeah. He tried. He was trying. No, there were times I actually kind of like his voice, and it's at least entertaining. It's at least fun to listen to. It's different. I'm sure there are other metal bands that had a similar style voice, but yeah, it's cool. All right, so yes, and the last song. Oh, by the way, this song "Among the Dead" is about basically a gospel song. This is why we're here. Be saved. That's it. Yada yada. Boom. That's it's just there. So, and the last song is called "Interruption," and it's just a little whatever. It's one of those little tracks that's them supposedly goofing around in the studio, and I never know if they're real or not, or they just kind of, because sometimes they sound kind of like, did that really happen? Are you really just goofing around? But
everything is always genuine. I believe everything. Be gullible, man.
There you go. All right, that's it. Vengeance Rising.
We did it.
We did it. And speaking of Tourniquet, I didn't mention this in the news, but today is the 19th that we're recording this. And I saw a nice post today on Facebook by Luke Easter missing his friend Ted Kirkpatrick. It's the anniversary of his death. So
wow.
It's kind of nice. So I'm just going to end on a downer. I was just going to be like Vengeance Rising, and I'm just going to end on a downer. But
well, I think, and I know that like one thing that I've discovered in reading since Ted's passing and reading, things that Gary Lanier has said, and not so much Guy. I haven't really read a lot of his stuff, but like Luke Easter, and just sort of talking about the complicated relationship they had with Ted. It's been kind of nice to read the things they've had to say about their friendship and the business relationship and how things were complicated, but they still loved him like a brother, and they always would. And it's like any brother that you have that you might not get along with all the time, but you still love them. And so it's been kind of nice to see that.
I agree. But going back to Vengeance, this is a classic album. Human Sacrifice is probably more in the pioneering box, but this one to me is like solidified them as classic. Just these two albums made them a classic band. The next two albums that didn't have the same musicians, and basically Roger was just kind of pretending kind of to be Christian over the next couple albums, and it didn't work. But these two albums, especially this one, are just amazing, and there it is.
Yeah. I mean, I have not made it any secret that I wasn't a huge Vengeance Rising fan, but it's like a lot of these bands that I don't love. It's like there are pieces and things about them that I really like. I mean, there's a lot of songs on here that I really like. And again, I think a lot of what I liked out of here was the songwriting, the musicianship, a lot of the things that we saw in Die Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff there. And, with the complicated world of Roger Martinez, I mean, I think you can't talk about Vengeance Rising these days without at least, having some nod to that and just hoping that he made peace with God before he passed, because
For sure.
He was a complicated man, that dude.
Complicated. I agree.
But, it's like, hopefully they'll be able to get back, because I know they were supposed to perform at a Immortal Fest this year with Luke Easter, and that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
But then that kind of fell through for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't remember why. I don't know if they said.
I don't know if we ever heard why.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll get to hear that someday, because I think it would be pretty awesome.
I think it would be amazing. So, yeah, guys, check us out on the socials. Check out the merch store. Give us 5 stars if you haven't yet.
Yeah, it's that's all that Britt said is what you should do right now. Just stop what you're doing, hit pause, go do that, come back, and then listen to us sign the show off. But yeah, if you want to support us in any way, I mean, I think obviously all those things are really good, like giving 5 stars, giving us a review, sharing our episodes. I mean, there's, like, I think of Steven, he shares just about every episode we put out, and I love that, and a lot of the guys do that are kind of our biggest fans, and we really appreciate everybody that listens. But yeah, if you want to help us out, I mean, like, hit the merch store. We link it on our website, but it's just geeksrockcast.threadless.com. Head over there, check out our stuff. I've retired a few things because they really didn't sell that much, and I was like, I don't want to overcomplicate things. But we've got the new Petra inspired shirt.
Presidential voting for. This is who we're going to vote for.
Yeah, I think we should vote for the Vols
Schlitt.
Yes, I think we should vote for that ticket in 2028. But yeah, thank you guys for listening so much. It's thank you for being patient, because we've had a long summer, but we're back in the fall. We're working on it. Thank you for your patience, and
Thanks,
we love you guys.
All right.
Peace out.